Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Checking in today from beautiful Walton, Kentucky. It just got done raining and the sun is trying to blind me right now. Let's see what we can do about that. So this load is a load I did from Norfolk up here, and it is about 650 mile load. Not a bad load. Before I get started, I want to say, everybody, if you would, please share, like, and subscribe this video to my channel. I'd like to send a special shout out to my buddy Dave, who gave me 12 bags of sausage cheesy balls. I've been eating 4 square meals of those a day to save on money, and I had a little overage down there. He had about 12 cases of those. I wish I could have took more of them, but honestly, my cooler is maxed out with the 12 of them. I can fit about 2 bottles of water and 2 canned drinks in there with all those. So, I don't know. It's going to be a week of sausage balls to save money. So, thanks, Dave. And thanks for subscribing. He said he was going to subscribe and watch the channel. So, anyway, this load, like I said, it's full of confidence boosters. And confidence boosters, if you're wondering what those are problems. Most people would call them problems. Not me. I call them confidence boosters. Because when you get past them, you know, you get that little bit of confidence. It's like telling someone to have confidence. You can't just tell someone to have confidence. They have to, like, earn it. So I'm earning some confidence boosters. So I get over there, I load this load up, and I tell the guy, I said, that looks heavy. 36 pallets of rubberized mats. And these mats are going to a contractor for NASA. And so that's where we're at right now. Really weird, like a real, like, squishy but not memory foam type of rubber mat, food grade, and kept at -4 degrees. I don't know what's going on with those. Didn't ask too many questions, just loaded it up and moved it. You know, that's my part of the gig. So I asked the guy when he gets them loaded, I said, hey man, how much does that weigh? He says, well, not more than 50,000 pounds. So I'm like, ugh, like, I'm contracted to haul 42,500 pounds, and that's not good. So I go in, I get the paper. Sorry for the shaking, we are getting unloaded here, and it is heavy. So I go in to get the paperwork. They say it's 46,000 pounds, and I'm like, oh, that's not, I can't haul that. And she's like, oh no, it's never that much. But then she looks at it and she goes, well, it is a little weird that it's 36 pallets and normally it's 32 pallets. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're going to go scale this immediately. So I went over to the little Ambest over there in Virginia Beach. They got a certified scale. It's not a cat scale, but scaled it out. Quarter tank of fuel in the truck. We're at 82,000. We got issues. I take it back over there, and you know, they literally sat on the phone with the customer. They're trying to pick which pallets they're going to take off. Like there's any kind of difference in these, but I guess there is. I told them it's fine if you want to look through them, because you're going to have to unstack 2 of the double stacks in the front. They had double stacked them 8 rows back, or 6 rows back, or something like that. I can't remember how he done it, but it was way over on the drives, and I needed fuel, so I told him, I said, you're going to have to unstack some of those. So anyway, after about 3 hours of deliberation with the customer, they decided they're going to take 3 off, which I did the math on it. If it's 46,000 pounds, that's like 1,200 a pallet. So that puts us like right under, you know, what we can haul. So, you know, they got all that done. It took about 2.5 hours to get all that sorted out. You know, with the reefer running at -4, with the doors open, we was hamming on the reefer unit. So anyway, somewhere in the middle of getting loaded, scaling it, going back, getting in a dock, I got a screw and a steer tire, just another confidence booster, you know. So I run it over, I get a steer tire put on while, you know, like after I scale it and get fuel. I'm like, yeah, I gotta get that replaced, because you can't patch a freaking steer tire. Luckily, I was getting ready to buy steer tires anyway, so I just had them put one on, because they did not have a brand that I preferred. So I just had them put one on it. I don't know what I'm still thinking about what I'm gonna do there, because the driver's side one still needs to be replaced, and I'm thinking about just taking that generic. It's not a Chinese brand. The guy said they're made in Canada, but I don't know. We'll see how it holds up for next week or so. But I typically like my steer tires to match and to be a good brand, preferably Michelin. So we may have to rethink this front tire on here. But anyway, back to the story. That was a confidence booster. I scaled the truck. It was overweight. I took it back. I brought it back after they unloaded some. I scaled it again. We were at, we were up there. We were at like 78,000 pounds. And so, I was over on the drive, so I slid them up. I wanted to know how much fuel I could get. So I said, hey, I'll pay the $2 to rescale. I rescale the truck. I get out. Then I realize that they have charged me $12 for every scale. They didn't do the reweigh on the last two. So I'm like, Jesus, and I didn't realize this until I was already like hitting down the road. Because at this point, my whole day had been tied up on just getting loaded, or my whole afternoon, I should say. But this is not going to be a very profitable load. So let's get to the numbers. 44,000 pounds, -4 degrees. The load paid $1,300 originally, and I didn't do the numbers on that because they called me yesterday and said, hey, we're going to add $200 to it because of wasting the day there, wasting those 3 hours dealing with that. So it's $1,500 now with that to the carrier, $1,200 to the truck. I got $288 in truck fuel. I got $80 in reefer fuel. I got $23.50 tolls from the Virginia Turnpike yesterday. Like I said, $36 in scale tickets. Oh, I'm so mad at myself for not noticing that. Because those last two could have been $2 each, and that's $20, man. Like, But anyway, it's $230 to the carrier a mile, $1.84 to the truck a mile, 650 miles. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Variable costs come in at $437.50, which leaves my money after variable costs at $772.50. Normally I wouldn't buy fuel in Virginia. I don't like Virginia as far as fuel purchases because of, you don't get a diesel after tax price. It's kind of expensive, but I got it at an AmBest. I bought 100 gallons for $2.88. So I just went and bought it in Virginia because at that price, there's really nowhere along my way that was a better price than that. That was like, excuse me. There's no better place along my route that was like a, decent brand truck stop. So yeah, I bought it at the $2.88. Like I say, that's a little bit lower than I would be normally getting it at, because normally I wouldn't buy it in Virginia. I'd buy it in a state with a higher tax but a lower like pre-tax price. But this really wasn't that bad at $2.88. So I could live with it. I'll put it that way. And I don't know. I've got here lately where Pilot and Flying J, I almost just can't stop at them anymore. They're getting ridiculous. Like, the pumps are never working. Next time you stop at a Pilot or Flying J, notice there will always be minimum of 1 pump down, possibly 2-3 pumps down. So I've got where, in like every big carrier, I seen a guy, let me trail off a little bit here for a second. I seen a guy at the Pilot in Memphis, Indiana the other day. I stopped there because it was the closest truck stop, and the Love's across the street is garbage because it used to be a Flying J. But in that Pilot, there was a guy taking a bath at the sink in the men's room. He had his shirt off, he had his shoes off, he had on nothing but a pair of basketball shorts, and he was literally rolling off paper towels by the 10-foot length, wetting them, pumping out tons of soap on it, and then washing his whole body. I laughed so hard. I just looked at him and laughed, and he was like, I don't know, like, but anyway, yeah. So when he was doing that, when I went in, when I got done using the bathroom, we got ready to leave, he had his feet bent up in the sink, standing on one leg with his foot and his leg, washing his whole foot and leg in the sink, reels off about 90 foot of paper towels, dries his whole body off. I'm paying, we got me a couple Gatorades or whatever, and I'm sitting there getting ready to pay. He comes out of the bathroom. I watch him walk out to a fuel island, get into a truck that is parked at the fuel island, guys. You can't make this up. I swear to God, it's true. Oh, man. Like, but anyway, that's my little rant. That's why I don't like Pilot Flying J's. The pumps are always down. There's always a bunch of dumbasses and shitheads there. Sorry about my French, but that's how I feel about them. But yeah, and to talk about freight prices for just a minute, guys, too, I want to touch on that a little bit. I think they're still going down as far as spot market prices. I mean, I'm seeing no light at the end of this tunnel right now on spot market prices. So I'm going to tell you right now, if it's a tough time to start trying to do the owner-operator thing right now, guys. Just be wary of that. Just take into account that prices are where they're at, and for the most part, I see a lot of these guys that do the 40-minute DAT commercials. They're talking about, oh, prices are going up, spot market prices are going up. Don't be confused by that too much, guys. What is happening is Florida and California are having produce come in. South Georgia, Louisiana, some places like that, they're having some produce come in. It's bringing the price up for those areas, which makes the national average come up a little bit. Don't let that penny or two it's climbing fool you. That's based on produce coming in, and that's what it is, guys. I don't see the average spot market prices doing any better than they have been in the last month or two. Matter of fact, let me take a minute here real quick, if you're still hanging with me, to tell you I got an offer on a load out of Binghamton, New York the other day to Lakeland, Florida. Refrigerated load, 30-degree refrigerated load. Guys, that's 1,200 miles. It was paying $1,000. And I told the broker, I said, and it was TQL, I'm going to put them out there, because if you're going to offer freight at these prices, you need to be put out there. But, yeah, guys, 83 cents a mile. 83 cents a mile. And I tell him, I say, guy, I said, you're going to have to do better than that. And he says, no, I don't, because I move 2 of these a week at this price, and I never have a problem moving them. And I told him it was insulting, and I told him I thought it was insulting, but honestly, I'm not mad at him too much. It's like, if somebody wants to move a 40,000-pound full trailer reefer load for 83 cents a mile because they think rates in Florida are doing good right now, that's all I can say. It's frustrating, because if he's moving 2 of those a week, man, that means, I didn't even worry about it. I just deadheaded out of that area. I couldn't find anything in that Scranton, Binghamton area that was worth anything. Like, I'm talking $1.25, $1.30, multi-stops for $1.25. I'm just like, who's pulling this? Why would you pull this? And, I'm not always against cheaper freight. But that's insulting freight. There's a difference between cheap freight and insulting freight. Sometimes you pull freight for, $1.40, $1.50 a mile. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get back to a direct customer or something like that. But when you're pulling it for less than $1, I don't understand, like, where any kind of reasoning would come in on that. But, I mean, like, about 3 or 4 months ago, I hauled a load from Indianapolis to Minnesota for 80 cents a mile. And it was a partial load. It was dry van, and it was a true partial. It was dry van. They said, we don't care if you load something else on there with it. And my thought was, okay, well, if I'm Indianapolis, Minnesota, I got a lot of cities in between there that I could maybe catch a partial. And the main reason I took it is because I had about a 50-50 shot on a load that was going to go with it up to Minneapolis that was paying like another $1 a mile, you know. And it was the one I picked up in Indy weighed like 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, and it was like 6 pallets. And I had another one that was kind of like that, and they were saying, oh, we might be able to do $1 a mile. Anyway, that fell through, so I ended up moving that one for 80 cents. But to move a full refrigerated truckload for that kind of money it's detrimental to yourself at that point. But yeah, guys, that's where I think rates are. I'm not going to rant too much longer on this video. I just wanted to tell you, I don't think rates are getting any better. You know, this load here started out at $2 a mile to the carrier. And the broker thought he was Jesus because it was $2 a mile. You know, like, they literally think $2 a mile is killing it. They're like, you know, they're not willing to negotiate any because they think $2 a mile is great. So anyway, guys, that's where we're at right now. Be safe out there. Take care of one another. And we'll talk to you later.